Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Steve Irwin has you pinned down in a headlock. What cool facts does he tell the audience about you and your habitat? This little bugger simulates reproduction up to 5 times a day. Almost exclusively without a mate. Then I imagine he would shove a Dorito in my mouth, and chuck me back into my bedroom. Steve, in a barely audible whisper as he gets low to the ground. The U/Squeeze is an endangered fella, there aren't many of them left, and he most likely won't find a mate. If you watch he's try to attract a Sheila. 5 minutes of silence as Squeeze stares at his screen, before typing sup to the Olifers girl he's subbed to. Followed by more dead silence. Better luck next time, little fella. If you see one of these in the wild, it's crucial you give them the space they need, as many of them can be highly poisonous. Be very careful, mates. We have to show dominance. If we show any affection towards this creature, he'll get attached to us and never leave us alone. Truly one of the most terrifying beasts in North America. When I was a kid, my parents were about to get divorced, so I spent my time hiding. One day, I was so desperate for some human contact that I sat in a busy place on the playground and looked sad, hoping someone would ask if I was okay. I did something similar that I can't even bring myself to fully explain. I don't think I really recognized how lonely I was. This little fella looks upset, but he actually craves physical contact. Edit, lot of you weirdos are into thumbs in buttholes. He's a little sad right now, why don't you pet him, give him a little rub. Red rocket, red rocket. I was gonna say. Knowing Steve, he would say a lot of nice things and I would just start crying. Oh, this one's a beauty. Amazing. Look at those tears. I can just see 2 crocs discussing it now. Why didn't you bite him? Easy meal. He said I was gorgeous. Why can't you ever say things like that? This air is a common member of his species, and as you can see he's got a fairly advanced case of fur loss, especially concentrated air at the top of his head. Many males you find in the wild with this condition will try to compensate by growing the fur around their faces, and this fella is no different. This one looks like he spends his days being poked and nipped at by his wee ones. Note the characteristic paunchy belly and the general lack of muscle tone. This fella can spend up to 12 hours a day grazing, and trying to find a nice spot to curl up for some shut-eye. Edit, apparently I've accidentally re-imaged Steve Irwin as a 19th century Cockney bootblack, but I'm leaving it. The first half of this hits too close to home. Just wait till you start experiencing the second part. I write curled up on the floor next to my 2-year-old's bed at 3 in the morning, she's ill and require constant soothing, no we don't know if it's corona. My wife is in our bedroom with a squealing 3-week-old. I fell asleep during a lecture today. Not one I sat as a student. A lecture I was giving. Crikey. This lil rugger is quite the sneaky little one. This particular type of animal can hide in a dark room all day and never even see the sunshine. She will do as much as she can to avoid others of her kind. Edit, I don't remember what he called gingers so I fixed it, thank you for correcting me fellow redditors. Man, are all gingers the same? 'Cause same. It's the soul that makes the sun feel good, so probably. Now looky here. Notice how he seems almost entirely apathetic to my attack. That's because he spends almost every waking moment pretending not to be bothered by the current situation he is in, despite the fact that he is incredibly irritated. To him, this is just another Monday morning staff meeting. He is truly a gorgeous example of mental endurance. That's the spirit. How the fuck did I get 2.5 Kelvin upvotes for this lame comment? It was sincere but still. He's angry. Calm down, big fella. Ain't go hurt ya. Yeah, there we go. See, he likes when I give his noggin scritches like this. Yeah, these guys like to get all big and blustery, especially in front of a keyboard. They'll be real mean to each other, but they're good folk though. Just gotta let them know you care about 'em. Everyone acting like Steve ever said something bad about the animals. That's not a thing. Hagrid. Hagrid is the fictional version of Steve Irwin. I don't care, he calls me a beaut and I really needed to hear it. You're a beaut, mate. No, you're a beaut. Crikey. This animal lives in a dilapidated bachelor pad and is capable of eating his weight in pudding over a weekend. Edit, thanks for the gold and the little angel Thigi. Audible gasp from the audience. Audible gasp from the dilapidated bachelor pad. Now what you think, this here fella looks like an absolute killer. He's big, he's covered in hair, and if he wanted to, he could probably knock more block off with one swing. The truth is, his kind look far more scary than they really are. Despite their size, they're actually quite timid, and will only attack when threatened and backed into a corner. Truth is, he just wants to find a Sheila he can settle down with and, who knows, maybe have a couple of kids. Sadly, this fella hasn't had much luck lately. He's the last of his line, and it would be shame if he never got a family of his own. Asterisk puts PS2 controller in my hands asterisk. Luckily, here at Australia Zoo, we have a state-of-the-art gaming room, where this fella can play the video games of his youth, and relive his days as a juvenile, when life seemed so full of possibilities. Edit, typed this just before I went to bed thinking I was far too late to the party to get noticed. Thanks for all the upvotes and awards. I hope this made you laugh and I'm sorry if it makes you sad. If it did, please be kind to yourself, life has a way of untangling itself. Steve would want you to care for yourself just as much as he'd want you to care for nature. That made me a little sad. Edit, that made me a lot sad. Isn't he a beauty? You're all right, fella. You're all right. This guy is out looking for a Sheila but he isn't having much luck. He's coming in late to the party. I laughed way harder at that last bit than I probably should have. At least you aren't the one thinking it might not be so bad to be pinned down by Steve Irwin. He's getting quite angry when he's getting poked with a stick. Asterisk pokes me with a stick asterisk. Dude, fuck off. Asked I fella. Now I'm going to shove my thumb up its butthole, that'll really piss him off. Please, daddy. Threaten me with a good time. Awesome question. This unusually large example of his species is known to consume enormous quantities of cheese in one sitting. He is a very stealthy creature, with the ability to sit in one spot at a computer for up to 8 hours at a time. Edit, this number has been drastically reduced since the introduction of a mate and offspring into the nest. Do you just like grab a cheese block and chow down? Do you not? This one right here, can put up a fight if you put a bowl Cheetos within the area. Good thing is that this bloke is actually calm because he ate a full bowl of Cheetos. I find it easiest to subdue one of these little fellas by withholding a local treat, Mount Dew, till it settles down and plays nice. See, this is why you take physical exercise seriously, kids. If you act like him and sit in front of a computer all day, it's really easy to pull a sneaky one in ya. Steve picks you /Silo 009 up from his hind legs as he thrashes about before giving up. Steve, isn't this a beauty? Just look at the stretch marks on this big fella. This is what we call a redditor, and despite their size they're not particularly dangerous, see. Steve begins stroking Silo 0OIE's head, mesmerizing him into a calm, accepting state. While not common out in the wilds, these fellas like to stay in their little burrows where it's safe. Have to say he's more scared of you than you are of him. Silo 009 just sort of flops, limp on the ground, staring ahead and licking his lips. The redditor can grow to 3 times the size of a human, truly remarkable, as it's always prepared to hibernate. This is why so many people think they are dangerous, is they'll catch 'em digging through their trash try to find something to eat, but really all this fella wants is a little love. Steve knows redditors like head pats. This big guy is quite greasy due to his natural habitat of an engine bay. I believe he is extremely angry due to the loss of all his 10mm sockets. /user aim checks out. I'm sitting in my chair looking at Reddit on my laptop. I've had a few beers, smoked a bowl and am relaxing. Steve jumps out from behind the chair, tackles me and gets me in a headlock. Steve, easy, fella easy, there mate. Me, what the fuck dude? Steve, looking at camera that isn't there and struggling, look at him, he's nervous, but that's alright, you're alright, fella. Steve, this here is a common specimen, you can tell by his surroundings that he's given up on life and is just passing time until his eventual death. Me, no longer struggling, because who cares? Steve, notice how he has given up struggling. Listen to that. Steve puts his ear to my mouth dramatically. That is the wheezing of a man who hasn't done any activity in ages. Notice his surroundings: empty beer cans, crumbs on the chair, a bottle of lotion and crumpled up tissues. I think I have found his nest. My wife walks out of the bedroom to see Steve on top of me in the living room. Steve, oh look at that. There's his mate. This is a middle-aged housewife who looks to be giving up a bit herself. Notice the frown lines and her faded nightgown. Wife, fuck you, asshole. Steve, oh you're all right. Steve turns his attention back to the camera that isn't there. Steve, now each of these specimens is a little different, but judging by the items in his nest and his mate, we can tell that he hasn't had his yearly loveless sex in quite a while, and is probably suffering from mild undiagnosed depression. Wife, I'm calling the cops. Steve, ah crikey. I seem to have upset his mate, so I should probably release him into the wild before I get into too much trouble out here in the bush. Wife, yeah, it's some Australian guy in cargo shorts and he's beating up my husband. Steve, you're all right, ain't it ya? Wife, yeah, he's talking to a wall like there's someone there. No, I don't know. Yes, thank you, please hurry. Steve picks me up and guides me back to my chair. Steve, I know I have seen these specimens many times in my career, but they always amaze me. Look how he sits there beautifully while he searches the internet for increasingly disturbing porn. Can't blame him, he's just trying to feel something, anything really. I'm always in awe how resilient these specimens are. My wife sobs in the corner holding her phone as I just stare at Steve. Irwin. Steve, what? Oh. Beauty. Steve leaves the house, backing away slowly. Wife and I are just left wondering what the fuck happened. You and wifey good bro? You okay dude? I don't think anyone replying to this question is okay.